Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Joyful Money Podcast. This is episode number 101, How to Eliminate Self Doubt and Imposter Syndrome. Gosh, this topic is so close to my heart, and the reason it is so close to my heart is because for over 10 years, I suffered with imposter syndrome. In fact, only until last year did I start posting my pictures on social media. You would never find any of my pictures on social media before last year because I felt like an imposter. And this feeling actually stole many years from my life, stole many years from all of the things I would have accomplished if I didn't have imposter syndrome and self doubt. But what is self doubt? Well, self doubt is an internal voice that holds you back from actually living out your full potential, from actually being the best self that God has made it to be, from actually exploiting all of the potential that God has placed inside of you. That's what imposter syndrome does. It keeps us stuck. That voice in our head that keeps telling us that we are not good enough, the voice in our head that keeps telling us that the next person next to us is better than us. But if you think about it, self doubt is something that we learned. What I mean is, we're not born with self doubt. If you look at babies, do you ever see babies having self doubt? No. Babies are usually very confident, very fearless. They just believe they can do anything they want to do. But along the way, from the time we were babies up until now, all of the programming that society has programmed into us, whether from our parents, our caregivers, how we saw other people interacting with other people in the world, our community, even in church, all of those experiences has fueled our self-doubt. Even in the workplace, maybe there was a particular comment that was made to you, and that has fueled your self-doubt. So I want you to understand that you were not born with self-doubt. Self-doubt and imposter syndrome are things we learned along the way. And here's the good news. We can unlearn them and become the best version of ourselves that God has created us to be. Now, I see this with a lot of my clients when they first come to me. They have imposter syndrome. Well, as a business owner, self doubt and imposter syndrome can keep you stuck. Self doubt and imposter syndrome can keep you from being visible, right? We all know that to sign clients, to get customers, we have to be visible. But inside of us, we have this self doubt and imposter syndrome that keeps us from taking action in our business. That voice in our head that keeps telling us we're not good enough. This is how it impacts our business in a negative way. So, this is a topic I hold very close to my heart because I know the negative impact self doubt and imposter syndrome can have. Now, for example, I told you that for many years, over 10 years, I always wanted to run my own business, but I was stuck with imposter syndrome. Now, you have to identify the self doubt that is keeping you stuck. Now, mine was um, the first one that keeps coming in my head was, oh, English is not your first language, right? So I always had this imposter syndrome. English is not my first language. I speak funny. People don't understand how I speak. I have a terrible accent. That's the voice that kept coming in my head. And that voice kept me stuck because I just felt I have an accent. People don't understand me. How am I going to speak? And then I was an introvert. I was like, right from when I was a child, I was this very shy person. So being on camera was not something that came to me naturally. So I always told myself, you're an introvert. Is you just have to stay inside. You don't have to be bold. You don't have to show yourself to the world. So that was one of the self-doubt and imposter syndrome I had to face. Another one was my weight, right? Since I had my daughter, I've struggled with my weight, and so I keep that voice keeps telling me, "Oh, you are too fat. you're not pretty, you're not skinny, right? Now, I'm giving you all of these examples so you can understand how imposter syndrome has kept me stuck. And maybe you have your examples as well. Now, maybe you don't have all of the challenges I thought I had with English not being my first language and all of those things. What's the imposter syndrome thought that you have that is keeping you stuck? Maybe for you is, oh, I didn't go to college. Or another popular one I see with my clients is, I don't have the experience, right? Many thoughts that keep people stuck with self-doubt and doubting their capabilities and doubting their abilities to achieve the life of wealth and abundance that God has created you to have. And this is one way that the devil has stolen many people's destiny. Now, God has placed it in your heart to build a very profitable business. There is an idea that God has blessed you with. There is a skill, there's a talent that God has blessed you with. But that doubt, the imposter syndrome, keeps keeping you stuck. And here's a question I have for you. If you saw someone who had never played basketball, who wanted to start playing basketball, and you saw them on the basketball court for the first day or two or week, would you call them an imposter? Would you call that person an imposter? No, you wouldn't. Why wouldn't you? Well, because that is just a human being learning to do something new. Same example as ballet. I have a 5-year-old daughter. She's obsessed with ballet, right? So now she's learning how to dance the ballet dance, whatever they call that. And so when I see her do it, it's very funny to me, but I kind of keep my laughter to myself. But there is no way I would call my 5-year-old daughter an imposter because she's learning. This is the process of becoming a ballet dancer if that is what she wishes to do. So, why would you call yourself an imposter? You are simply a human being attempting to do something new, right? So, if you have a business idea, you're running your business, you're a coach, you're a consultant, why would you call yourself an imposter? No, you're not. You are a human being attempting to do something new, right? So I want you to stop calling yourself an imposter. You do not have an imposter syndrome. You are an amazing human being who God has blessed with an idea, and you're in the process of making that idea a reality. You are in the process of creating a successful life for yourself and your family. You are in the process of creating the wealth and abundance you know you deserve. So please do not call yourself an imposter. I want you to decide today. Now, it starts with a decision. And that decision is, I am not going to allow that inner critic to keep me stuck anymore. It ends today. You draw the line in the sand and you say, this is it. It ends today. Now, I'm going to give you some tips that you're going to use to deal with your imposter syndrome. Ready? The first tip is to test the validity of your negative thoughts. And in order for you to be able to test the validity of your negative thoughts, you need to be able to identify those negative thoughts in the first place, right? So identify the self-doubting thoughts and the imposter syndrome thoughts that keep coming up from you for you over and over and over again. Write them down. Okay, maybe there are 5 of them or 10 of them. Write all of them down in your journal. Now, I want you to test the validity of those negative thoughts. For example, if your thought is, oh, I screw up all the time, I know I'm going to screw this up, right? So, that one thought, which is your self doubting thought, I want you to test the validity of that thought. Is it true? Is it true that you screw up all the time? Yeah, give me evidence that you screw up all the time. And when you give me evidence, the evidence is gonna show that you make good things happen. You do badass things, right? So I want you to test the validity of every of your thoughts, right? So for example, when I had the thought, oh, nobody's gonna understand me, nobody's gonna understand my accent, and then I then asked myself, well, is this really true? Well, that is not true because I have been in IT consulting for over 20 years. I've consulted for some of the top companies in the world. And so I tell the negative thought that is not true. Because if that were true, there is no way I would have had all of those high profile jobs I had. Right. So I want you to test the validity of all of those negative thoughts that have been keeping you stuck. Step number two is to practice self compassion and self respect. Oh gosh, I cannot stress this point enough. Self compassion. I know people say talk to yourself as you would a friend, but many people don't do that. Self compassion means that you have 100% compassion for yourself without reservation. You have compassion for yourself because you are a human being and because you're somebody who you've gone through all of the things you've gone through in life to be where you are today, right? And like I said in one of my previous podcast episodes, whether you achieve success in your business or not is irrelevant. Why do I say it's irrelevant? Well, because your self-worth has nothing to do with the size of your bank account. Okay, so practice self compassion. Many people erroneously think that when they are hard on themselves, then they're going to get the results of success that they want. No, in fact, research has shown that the opposite is the case. If you talk down on yourself, if you say nasty things to yourself, there is no way you're going to feel motivated to create a successful life for yourself. So practice self compassion and self respect. Respect yourself. You've done amazing things, my friend. And that leads me to the next point, which is build a greatness list. What is a greatness list? A greatness list is list of things that you've accomplished in life that you might not necessarily think of day to day. Why don't we think of those things day to day? Well, it's because of something called the negativity bias. The human brain likes to focus on negative things instead of the positive things. So your brain will always segue to think of all of the things that are not right with you instead of thinking of all of the amazing things you've done in the past. So when you build your greatness list, then you're going to see all of the things you've achieved, right? So when my negative voice comes and it tells me all the things, all of my flaws, and it tells me all of the things that are not right with me, I refer to my greatness list. And what does my greatness list say? Well, this is someone who has 20 plus years experience in IT consulting. This is somebody who left her home country at the age of 25 with no English, studied in the UK, and she was top of her class. Yes, I was top of my class at Middlesex University. So when I think of all of the things I've achieved, like I'm not trying to brag or anything. I'm just giving you an example of what you should write in your greatness list. In my greatness list, I tell myself, this is a woman who single-handedly feeds her family back home in Africa. That's amazing. So I tell myself all of these things and I say, no, negative voice, inner critic, you cannot talk down on me. I know what I've achieved. And so I read through my greatness list and I say, no, 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 we're not doing that today. I am a badass. I'm on my way to creating an amazing life for myself and my family. And I will not allow negative self talk to hold me back. Another thing I want you to consider is this. Think of the sacrifices that your ancestors, my ancestors, think of the sacrifices our ancestors have made for us to have the opportunities we have today. Just think about that. Whether you are a woman or a man, our forefathers and our foremothers have made huge sacrifices for us to have the opportunities we have today. Did you know that as early as the 1980s in the US, women could not own a credit card by themselves? Did you know that a man would have to co-sign for them to have a credit card, whether it's their husbands or their sons? Can you imagine your son signing your application in order for you to get the credit card? That's how it was in the 1980s. So think about all of the sacrifices our foremothers have sacrificed for us to have the amazing opportunities we have today. With just my laptop, I'm able to create an amazing business, right? Without leaving my home. I have an amazing office. Like, I'm blessed. I have an amazing office where I do my work. But I just have a laptop and internet connection, and I'm able to create an amazing business for myself and my family. All of that was made possible because of the sacrifices my foremothers and my forefathers made. So when that thought comes to me and tells me about all the things wrong with me, my negative self-talk, my negative self-doubt, my imposter syndrome, I remind myself and I say it is my obligation, it is my responsibility to make the best use of the life God has given me. So I want to encourage you. When you feel low, when you feel like you're not getting the results you expect in your business, I want you to come back to this episode and rewatch this episode. I want you to be encouraged, and I want you to finally eliminate the self-doubt, eliminate the imposter syndrome, because God has placed greatness in your heart. And if you allow self-doubt and imposter syndrome to get in the way, then you're not going to live your full potential. One of my goals in life, like my ultimate goal in life, is that when I pass, when I die, and I get to the gates of heaven, I want God to say, "Well done, my daughter." That's my goal in life. And so I want to exploit all of the potential that God has given me here on earth, so that when I pass and I get to the gates of heaven, God will say, "Welcome home, my daughter. You've done well." So I want you to be encouraged when that voice comes to you and tries to hold you back. I want you to think about it. When I'm on my deathbed, how do I want to feel? When I'm dying and I'm saying my goodbye to my families, do I want to have regrets in life? No, I don't want to have regrets. I want to live my life to the fullest potential. And I want God to be so proud of me. So here's your action item for this week. I want you to create your greatness list. If you're happy to share with me, I'll be so excited to celebrate you. You can send me a private email or you can DM me on either LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. And I want to celebrate you. I want you to create your greatness list, a list of all of the things you've achieved in life that you would ordinarily not acknowledge or recognize or appreciate. I want you to write those lists. And I want you to go out there, take action. I want you to kick ass. I want you to create the most wealth, the most abundance you can create, because the only limit is your imagination. If you want, you can create $1 billion. So do not put a limit on what you can achieve. Go out there, live your life to the best, show up online, be visible, get clients, and let's celebrate. Thank you so much to all of you who listen to this podcast. I am so encouraged by all of your stories and all of your comments. And I'm so glad we're on this journey together. I'll see you back here on the next episode. Until next time, sending you lots of love, lots of light, and lots of warmth. Bye for now. Hey, very quickly before you go, if this podcast inspired or encouraged you in any way, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and share this with a friend. It means a lot to us, and we appreciate your kindness and generosity in doing this. We'll see you back here on the next episode. Bye-bye.